I have to share. I was a little bit scared there because I opened up my TikTok app and it didn't give me the option to do a live. I was like, no, I can't just upload a video or a thing, but I'm here. I'm here, and as promised, I like getting in the habit of keeping my promises to myself and to you all, to you all. So good morning, good morning. Hey, Cece Fitzhenry, nice to see you. I'll see you. It's today's Thursday already. See you tomorrow morning. Abbott Elementary, nice to see you. ABT Abcadeptic for Stewartses. It's the most remarkable word I've ever seen. I think that was the first 45 I actually ever purchased. I want to pretend it was something cool. Like I'm always joking about like that kind of hipsterization of things. That like, oh yeah, like the first 45 I bought was like White Light, White Heat by the Velvet Underground. No, it was Rubber Ducky, You're the One. And I could probably sing the song, but you don't want to hear that. So good morning, everybody. Good morning, Roger. Oh, ID Princess, nice to see you. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Seller 268, Beaches, all sorts of swell folk. So good morning. Good morning. Thursday, April 12th. It's funny. 11th. I was just on a call with a client, and we were cracking up about the fact that the calendar can be such a random thing. But I am here for you this morning. If we've never met before, my name is Beth. I am a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered. Why is it called Destination Decluttered? I don't know, because I like driving. And if you look behind me, this is one of the few times if I'm doing my TikTok live that I will suggest that you look at the screen. To me, I think it's good when you can just listen to me, kind of like a podcast, because the screen doesn't change. But the only thing I will typically do is I will point to a map pin that I kind of have made out of construction paper here, and a little car, a little dotted line, and a little heart here, because the heart is your destination. You're on a road trip and you want to go someplace where you're excited about. Now, why am I talking about road trips when I do decluttering? Well, because sometimes clutter is the stuff that's metaphorically and physically piled in front of your car that it's hard for you to move towards until you kind of see what's in there and get curious about it and either decide you want to keep it and you put it in your car, or you decide you don't want it and you push it to the side of the road so you can move forward. So I love to show up and do these TikTok lives because I know what it's like when you're feeling stuck and overwhelmed and I can't even, as the Bitmoji says, and I can help you through that. I work with one-on-one clients as my thing that I love to do. And one of the things I do is I will ask you, where are you stuck? Here on a TikTok live, it's a little bit of a smidge of what one-on-one coaching is like, but just knowing that there's somebody there for you to encourage you that has a skill set that I share with you. I don't gatekeep. I share with you. Everything I share with you here is stuff that I do with my one-on-one clients. The only difference is when I'm talking to multiple people on a TikTok live, that I can only we can only go so deep. It's like being in an auditorium full of people and then having a deep conversation with somebody is not helping everybody. But the tools that I share with you are ones that can help you at whatever level you're at. Okay, I just need to know where you're stuck to help you with that and then encourage you. So good morning, Sherry LaRue. Just moved to a gorgeous 40s house, but feel like I have nowhere to put the stuff. Okay, well, think about this. When you are moving into a house, the stuff isn't where it's supposed to be. It's probably still in boxes. Okay, so think about that just as a matter of, sometimes it's just a math problem. That the stuff in the box is taking up physical space, whereas if you unbox the stuff and you put things, on shelves, like, I've got shelves behind me here, then you would have more room. Excuse me. But the other thing I want to help you with as far as this goes is when any of us move into a space, the stuff we have with us is a guesstimation of what you eventually want to be in that home. Now, since you've just moved into a new house, you're kind of already at your destination as far as you've got the framework, you've got the new room, you've got the rooms in the new place, but you've got your stuff from your old life, your old places where you've stayed. And this is a wonderful opportunity to realize that, and trust me, I have worked with clients who have moved, that you probably have made a best guess effort as to the stuff that's going to fit from your old life into your new house, but it's just a best guess. You now have the wonderful opportunity to ask yourself again, now that you're in the new place, do I want this in my life or not? Now that sounds like a big question, but it could be like, look, I've got this salt shaker. How many salt shakers do I need? And you can make a decision. And I would love for you to think of this as such a cool opportunity to start to create the life you want, not en masse, not unpacking everything and saying, oh, shoving it somewhere and whatever, but pay attention to the boxes you're opening first. That's the stuff, that's like the concentric ring of, this is the stuff I need. I need my underpants, I need my toothbrush, we need something to drink out of, something to eat off of. The bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. And then, what's the next concentric ring? I know people, we want to just kind of all get settled, but to me, the organic way of unpacking your stuff reveals to you the stuff you really need and want, and the stuff that you don't really care about might stay in a box for longer. Use the moving process as a way to create the home you want from the get-go, okay? So, yeah, notice no, yeah, we got sort of, yeah, so like, yeah, you probably do, Sherry, you probably do need to get rid of some more stuff. And not get rid of, you see, I got to practice even, notice the words we use have a certain feeling. I don't want to say, I say rehome. You brought it from your one home to the other home, and now the stuff that you don't want in your home could probably help somebody else. It was good enough for you to move, so it's not probably trash. So think of a way that you can get your stuff closer to somebody else's home, whether that's donating a free table on the front of your lawn, selling it, gifting it. There are so many ways you can rehome items. But we can only guess what we need. It's kind of like packing for vacation. You make a best guess effort as to how many outfit changes you want, what the weather's going to be like, what shoes are going to be comfortable. I just came back from a trip I will share with you that I had clothes I didn't wear at all, and I had clothes I wore multiple days because it ended up being a lot colder in Long Beach, California than I thought it was going to be. Okay? So yeah. So good morning, Laura Gibbons Voorhees. Laura, and just so you know, kind of quick, not, I want to call it housekeeping, more behind the scenes things, okay? So behind the scenes, really quickly. If you've just, if you know me, you know, if you know, you'll know that I tend to read the questions or the comments aloud so that if you're walking around and just listening to me like a podcast or driving, that you don't have to look to see what I'm referring to. I also do this because the TikTok lives that I do are recorded and then uploaded to YouTube. And so when the people that these comments that you might be seeing if you're looking at the screen don't carry over. So I pull out the comments and read them. So like Laura is saying, good morning, Beth. And I'm saying, good morning, Laura. I appreciate what you have taught me and the support I feel. Oh, and she did the little heart thing that I always struggle with. I'm not of the generation, but right back at you. Feeling support feels supportive. I like to be supportive because I know what it feels like to not have it. When you know what it feels like to have it and not have it, then you can decide which way do I feel better. I like feeling support, encouragement, calming down your nervous system, reassuring, encouraging. Those are the ingredients that are going to help you move along on your journey versus the opposite, the discouraging, the unhelpfulness. Okay, and this is all a journey. You know, this is a journey, of where you are now. You were at a certain place. Now you're here. Where are you going? Kind of the past, the future, or the past, the present, and the future. I don't want to get too cosmic because some of that stuff makes me roll my eyes, maybe because I just don't get it. But thinking about really all you ever have is the present moment. Your brain can look in the past, and your brain can look in your heart. You know, your internals can talk about the past and the future, but really all we have is right now. So, it's just kind of fun. So here's an interesting thing. GM Jess from LA here. Hello. Love the Jungle Book reference. I'm going to give you, you're in LA, you've got a Jungle Book reference. I'm going to give you this one right back. So this is a crazy thing. The guy who wrote that song, his name is escaping me at the moment, but we recently saw it because we were in California. It's Googleable. My brain is not Google. But the crazy thing is that he grew up in the town that I live in, Gilkerson, Terry Gilkerson. And one of his children, I think his children are still kind of, I don't want to say in the music biz, but they do create music. Gilkison, I think there's a Y in it. We did a little thing a couple of years ago for his 100th birthday here in Phoenixville, PA. But yeah, so I've never seen the Jungle Book all the way through. Just it hasn't worked out. But the Simple Bare Necessities, I have a warm fuzzy feeling in my heart about that, because the person who wrote that book is somebody who came from this town I live in. Alrighty, I love it. I love that Catherine said, did the trial like you did with some pants and shoes. Started a process. I love a process. Process is freeing. Here's the crazy thing. Now, I grew up, and this isn't going to always be about me, but just for some context to share with you the way things can look and feel differently, is I started out my college as an art history major, a photography minor, and things like that. Decades later, when I ended up, because we needed to pay the mortgage, I ended up in a conference room. What do you call it? Like a corporate office, and working and stuff. It was not good for my soul, but it was good for the pocketbook, so I did it. Oh my God, I just said pocketbook. Totally Bostonian right there. And I was moved to a team that I ended up being my last kind of corporate thing was a process engineer. Now, the funny thing is I think I'm a creative, blah, 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 but solving problems and creating a structure, a framework, you can't make a painting unless you have a surface, is process can be freeing. Knowing what to do, a certain order of operations. You probably do this every day when you get into your car to go drive somewhere. When you first learned how to drive, you were like, oh my gosh, that's right. Okay, I need to unlock the car. I need to sit down. I need to put the keys here. I need to do this. You were thinking a lot about it because it wasn't familiar. The more you repeat things and you get into a process and a habit, what this does is this will ingrain some beneficial habits for you. So it just becomes what you do. Much like right now, if I get into my car, I can be my brain can be thinking of other things, and I can get in and get ready to drive without even thinking about it. So I want to encourage you that process is a really helpful way, a certain order of way of doing things, but also having some flexibility in it. Yeah, Megan, actually, I found out I saw some TikTok videos about this. It was like, do you call it a purse or do you call it what do you call this? And I have learned that not only pocketbook, and notice I had to put the T there, was kind of a Bostonianism, or maybe Massachusetts, New England, but then also when you are talking in the informal voice that you tend to use and not say pocketbook, but I just heard myself say pocketbook. I think it is. Massole and VT, I don't know. New York also pocketbook. Okay, definitely a pocketbook. Yeah. So we all have habits of thinking, and we all have habits of doing things. We have habits of speaking based on things that I haven't lived in New England in coming up on 24 years. I moved away in 2000 when I met my now husband, a delightful gentleman. And so but I still have Bostonianisms. I still have massholeisms in the way I speak, because for the first 30 years of my life, I was surrounded by that. So sometimes we don't even realize the things that we are in the habit of doing or saying or thinking until we look at it and say, oh, isn't this interesting? Look what I do. And this is not just about the way you the way you speak, but the way you think and the things you do. So I want to just offer this up to you, is thinking of how you grew up might have a way in which you're showing up clutter-wise. Did you grow up in a clean house and somebody did it for you and you never learned the skill? Did you grow up in a clean house and somebody berated you for not being clean, so you have resentments about decluttering? Or maybe you just didn't learn the skill. Or maybe you grew up in a cluttered home and you're so used to that you don't even think there's another way of living. Now, I don't do this to change you at all. I don't come in and say, you're wrong, you need to change. No. I show up for the people who are struggling with clutter and say, I want to change this. I am tired of living in a cluttered home, and I want to do something different. I want to feel different. Okay? So when you want to feel differently in the way you want to live, I'm sick and tired. I'm not going to take it anymore. I show up for you. Here I am. Rock you like a hurricane. Oh, I crack myself up. I get like I joke that I went to like the Fozzie Bear School of Comedy, waka waka. I am here for you if you're struggling with clutter. And I offer you the tools of change, the winds of change. Now I'm totally getting on a Scorpions roll, and I'm not even a heavy metal person. To help you, okay? And as you can tell, I do it very informally. I mean, who doesn't want to laugh first thing in the morning? Starting the morning with a laugh is better than starting it with crying. So I'm here to help you with that. Jennifer is saying, such a good one. My grandmother grew up during the Depression, and she didn't throw away anything. You might need it. Yes, that you might need it someday, thought and feeling, is a generational thing. My grandparents grew up in the Depression. My mother grew up in a Depression era household. And so I grew up thinking and learning and not just absorbing the notion. You don't even know what you're absorbing as a kid. When you're a kid, you're like a sponge. And you hear these things and you assume they're true because you trust your parents that are teaching you the right way. And I'm not saying that there's a right way and a wrong way, but when what you're thinking and feeling causes your life to not be the way you want it, you might want to rejigger that, okay? Now, even as a decluttering coach, I often will always go from that MO of there's good stuff out there. Don't throw away good stuff, but there's a certain point of it. What I want you to feel like is there are places you can rehome your items that somebody might need it someday. But do you need it? When's the last time you used it? When's the last time you used that rice cooker? When's the last time you used that crepe pan? And yeah, is depression, and this is interesting. So Ash and Kaylee is saying depression. Depression has there's two different levels there. We can talk about the Great Depression, the economic depression of the 20s and 30s that happened in the United States and globally. But there's also a way of feeling that's called depression. And yeah, when you're not feeling good, when you're feeling depressed, it's going to be more difficult to do stuff. So noticing the way that you feel impacts what you do and how you think, and they're all kind of dancing with each other, is knowing that can help you know where you need the help to get to change things, okay? Yeah, same with depression. Saves everything, even plastic bags. I have been known to reuse a Ziploc bag myself. However, there's a balance between those things. And I want you to, as, here I go from the Scorpions to Depeche Mode, get the balance right. Do-do-do-do-do. Get the balance right for you. What quality and quantity of items do you want in your home? What quantity and quality of items do you have in your home that make it easier for you to live? Not more difficult. Your stuff can make it more difficult. Let's make your stuff make it easy for you to live so living feels easy. Okay? So Rita is asking, how do you start? And Tammy is asking, how do you organize deep cupboard space in the kitchen? So let me just offer you this. I like to say, this is what helped me, this is why if I ever get confused about what I'm doing, I always go back to the fact that my coaching is called Destination. I called it Destination Decluttered to remind myself of the destination. I realized in my life when I wasn't getting what I wanted, did I really know where I was aiming for? So I want to say where you start is with the end in mind. And I want you to ask yourself these questions. You don't have to answer it in the comments. I want you to ask it of yourself. Listen for your answer up here and in here, and then ideally write it down. Getting your thoughts out of your head and onto paper is what I suggest to every single one of my clients. And I'm always pulling up my notebook to say, write it down, is before you even start, kind of, why am I doing this? Now, why can be such a random, I don't know. I remember somebody asked me what my why was first, and why do you do that? And I was like, I don't go to the why. I didn't even know what she was talking about. Now I know, but I want you, just think of these questions. These might help you. What do I want my house to look like? What do I want my home to look like? How do I want to feel in my home? And then, how do I want my home to function? The other one, too, I want to add on to this is, what's in it for me? If I'm going to do this, if I'm going to spend my time and my energy and my money on decluttering, what's in it for me? What am I going to get out of this process? Write down those questions, ask them to yourself, answer them. That's how you start, is knowing why you're doing it, because that's going to be the energy that gives you that long-term gas in your tank. Now, the everyday energy is basically going to be talking about energy. Is the energy, the nervous system energy you have, is calming down from overwhelm. Overwhelm is too big. Chunking down and focusing down can help you. A few deep breaths. I saw a thing the other day with the little kids, when you feel the big feelings and the teacher goes 3 deep breaths. Calming down your nervous system and then chunking down what you're doing. Starting small, focusing on a small area that you know you can do something to make a difference. So in your house, in your cupboards, for example, cupboards, actually the funny thing is when you said deep cupboard space in the kitchen. So I would say this, couple of things, and this comes from not only my background as a decluttering coach, but I spent decades in retail doing management, but also visual merchandising and things like that. Is get probably, if you're like me, I need to get on a little step stool, and just see what's in the deep cupboards. Then notice that this kind of falls underneath the practicality, the how does my house function, is ideally you want the right quantity of things. 1 set of plates, the plates you use most often should be within easy reach so you can easily grab them. The plates that you don't use as often, maybe the fancy china or the fine china like Susanna's saying, goes in the further reaches, so you know where it is and it has a place, but it's not like you have to get up there every day. Making it easy for you to grab the things and use the things that you use on a regular basis. But if you've got those deep cupboards, you got to watch it. And I do this myself, and I know I have this, is even as a decluttering coach, I know that we have a shelf in one of our cupboards that I need to get onto a step stool to reach. And it is starting to get full of those recycled, like, oh, here's a commemorative mug that you got for free at this. Here's another commemorative mug you got for free. The plastic mugs that you use sometimes at the pool, at the beach, whatever. And it's starting to fill up. Is ask yourself, before you even start to say where do things go, do I even want this anymore? Why am I saving this? And we save and hold on to things for a variety of reasons. And the reason, if it makes sense to you, if it feels good, if you want to save it, awesome. Find a home for it that makes sense to you, that makes it easier to live with. But if you don't want it, I want to give you the permission to rehome the things that are just not doing it for you anymore. Funny thing is I'm thinking about these kind of recyclable glasses and mugs and things that we have, and I'm thinking of a certain client that we have who realized that, boy, if you don't watch it, you've got a whole bunch of those ones that you get from Starbucks. Now, the crazy thing is I don't even drink Starbucks. I'm like a tea person myself, and I tend to be like I try to avoid spending my money at chain restaurants and places. It does happen. I mean, please, I live in the world. However, I have been even enticed by some of those mugs and those things from Starbucks. Like, oh, that's pretty and sparkly and green. Oh, that looks like a disco ball. Oh, neat. That has, I fall prey to that stuff myself. So I know how that is. It's just a matter of thinking of the quantity and the quality. Now, quality can be how well it works. Oh, I like this mug, but it's always a sippy cup. It's a spill. I end up spilling myself. Or, ooh, I really like this one. This is my favorite. This one works well. Like, you will see me when I have my tea. I was drinking water this morning. And notice, seriously, talk about a commemorative mug. This was filled with a drink in New Orleans. And, now I'm glad it's filled with water. But picking the things that make it easy for you to do the things you want to do. The sharp scissors as opposed to the dull scissors. Thinking of the quantity and quantity of things you have. Okay? I think Laura Gibbons Voorhees just said, my dad had a box labeled strings too short to keep, which he obviously kept, which had little strings in it. And I think that's kind of hysterical and charming and heartbreaking all in the same times. Yeah. So it's, you know what, we all keep random stuff. Sometimes you won't even realize the stuff you keep until you see it starts to collect and you're like, oh, like I did this for a while there when we were getting bread and it had like those little plastic little thingies on them. I started having a collection of them. It's crazy. Yep, I love it. My trip to Disney, everywhere it said a place for everything and everything in its place. Yeah. Funny thing is we came home from Disney, and we go there every year pretty much. Not because no shade to the Disney people. It's not really my vacation of choice, but my husband is a musician that plays in one of the bands that gets invited back or has gotten invited back every year, comes back, and it's a delight, and I feel blessed that we have the opportunity to go there. They play at Epcot, and one of the things I noticed is they have those reusable mugs that you can get your stuff in. Well, if I don't watch it and we get those, that top shelf I was talking about are going to have 10 of them at this point. You can't reuse them every year. So it's a matter of, what do I decide? Do I keep it? Do I give it away? What do I do with these things? And I found a way that's kind of fun, that I give mine to people when they're coming in. And I say, hey, there's a few days left of this. You can get your sodas. And I like doing that. Okay. Okay, yeah, here, Kim is saying, totally, I love that you've already discovered those levels of surface clutter, stored clutter, and sentimental clutter. That you can't clear the surface because your stored clutter is full. Right, that is many times an indicator as to where the balance is off. You've got too much stuff that you want to store, but the storage is full. And that's where you just need to, again, without judgment. Do not judge yourself. That is such an energy drain. It's exhausting. Why do I have all this stuff? I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I spent that kind of money. Why can't I get rid of this stuff? Ugh. I can feel like my gas tank, my gas level going down. Just say to yourself, in a different, second verse, same as the first. Anybody went to, what is it, Girl Scout camp? The different way you sing it, the different tone you have, brings it up. Why did I buy this? Doesn't help you, shuts you down. How about this? Why did I buy this? I don't know, curiosity. Instead of judgment, curiosity, okay? Do not judge other people or yourself. Get curious. Why did I save this? Why have I saved this? And like me with those little tabs from the bread bought things, I'm like, I don't know, they were kind of colorful and plastic. Do I really need them? No. Can they be recycled? I don't know. What can I do with them? You know what? I'm just going to throw them away. Have a conversation with yourself and pick your favorites of your items that you have. When you go through and you declutter, you're basically categorizing stuff. This is the stuff I love, I'm keeping it. This is the stuff I don't like, I'm getting it out of my house. The clutter that tends to jam us up, think about this. Think about being at a stoplight and you've got at a traffic light. Green light, go, is keep. Red light, stop, is give away. Clutter tends to be that yellow, should I stay or should I go now, as the Clash would say. Do I want this? Do I not want it? I don't know. I do want it, but I don't know where to put it. I don't want it, but I'm afraid I'm going to get in trouble if I get rid of it. I give you permission to get rid of the things, to rehome the items that you don't want. You're not going to get in trouble. Okay? Yeah, there we go. All right, if I'm getting on a musical thing, let's see. We've talked about the Simple Bare Necessities. We've done the Scorpions. We've done Depeche Mode. And now I feel like what do you call it? The Red Hot Chili Peppers. Give it away, give it away, give it away now. Was that the Red Hot Chili Peppers? Yeah. Or Let It Go, Let It Go. Talk about Disney and that Frozen girl. Or I was at a organizing conference this week and they were saying, let it go, let it go, let it go. All of it. Tammy Lee. Yes, I love your musical references. You speak my language. I'm a Gen Xer. This is just how my brain is wired, and it delights me, and it cracks me up, and it connects me to people. As you say, are you picking up what I'm putting down? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, Violent Femmes, third verse, same as the first. Yeah. Day after day. Anywho, I could go on a musical riff, and the fun thing is, too, my dad was like that. He was like, you give me a word and I can find a song about it. Now, he did not sing well, but he sang with joy, much like me. I do not sing well, but I have fun doing it. And it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's how you feel. If you feel fun, if you're having fun, let's have some fun and get it done. Okay? I'm borderline Gen X millennial. Okay, Tammy Lee, I'm on the other end. I am so Gen X, it's not even funny, but I'm elder Gen X. I am like neighbors with Generation Jones, I think they're calling it now. But I know what it's like to grow up with people who are influenced by the kind of hanging on mentality of not having a lot. I also know the fun thing about, ooh, I get the toys that I never had, so I'm hanging on to my pop culture. Like I finally got my Fisher Price. What would I want? Fisher Price. Oh, the A-frame, of course. Ba 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 da. Take the A-frame. Anybody? I crack up. Decluttering. What do you want your home to look like? I want my home to look like a mid-century modern A-frame. I want to have just the right amount. I don't want to have too much stuff. I want to make it easy to clean. I want to save the things I love and know where they are. So when I go to find those pictures, I know where they are. And I want to continue. And this is a continual process. I will share this with you. Yeah, big old 988 is saying, I have a lot of my mom's decor because she passed and it's just sitting there in the basement. You know why? Because it was hers. It's not yours. I want to help you release the obligation of keeping the stuff that other people kept. There may be a home for her decor, but obviously it's nothing that you're racing to unbox and hang up in your own house. Honor that. Honor yourself, and that it's okay that you are different from your parents. Now, trust me, I did not grow up in a house that looked like my house looks like now. It's pretty much a complete opposite. Their house was their house. It never really jibed with me. But man, when I saw Art Deco and mid-century modern and pop culture stuff with color and all that, ooh, that I thought was pretty cool. So that's what I thought was cool. That's why my house looks the way it does. Your mom could have had her decor, that was hers. It doesn't have to be yours. It actually shouldn't, because you should, before you die, you should be the fullest expression of yourself on the planet. And if her stuff in your basement is dragging you down, I want to just offer this thought. There is probably somebody on the planet who would delight in your mom's stuff. Now, I say this because I have been in the reselling and the vintage biz literally since my teens, practically. And I have seen the generational shift on what people collect and what people think looks cool and things like that. I know that there's a generation of youngsters out there who groove on stuff that I grew up on, much like my mother was like, I don't know why you like this 50s stuff. I don't like it. It's what I grew up with. I see people with the avocado and the goldenrod and the macrame and the owls and the mushrooms that I grew up in as a kid in the 70s. Those things, some of that stuff just doesn't do it for me. Yet there is a generation of people out there who are so rabidly excited about it, like I was about my 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s stuff. So just because it doesn't do it for you, first of all, that's okay. But there is another home out there for that stuff that somebody is going to delight in discovering that stuff. Okay? All right, so Tammy Lee, want to come to my house? No. But here's the deal. How I show up in your house is on Zoom. How I show up in your house is TikTok. I have been in people's house. I had, prior to my corporate, I have a wildly varied career, kind of like, what's his name, Wayne Campbell, hairnets and name tags. I never wore a hairnet because I was in retail. I wasn't in food service, but I have had a wide and varied career. And for a while there, I literally worked for a company that would be hired to go in and pack people up when they were moving and to move those things and to unpack it. So my hands have touched more people's stuff than good. Kind of like my hands have changed so many diapers that I never wanted to have children. But I say this to you because I want to share that the decluttering has nothing to do with me being in your house physically and me moving it. It's about you realizing that it starts up here in your head. And you think a thought that makes you feel a feeling. And when you feel a feeling, you do a thing. It can be as simple as that. Your head, your heart, and your hand. Oh, look at me. I look like I should be on one of those votive candles. Then, when you think and decide what you want done, there's other people that can move the stuff for you. I am there with you during the decision making, even if it's just my voice in your head saying, what is this thing? Do I want it or not? If I want it, where's a good home for it? If I don't want it, where's a good home for it? lather, rinse, repeat, you know? So yeah, I do coaching on Zoom. I'm a one-on-one decluttering coach. I work with clients all over the country, and I do it. I'm only able to help so many people because I don't go to your house. I spend the time on Zoom, and do that. So, okay, I love it. Gretchen is saying, I don't want to burden my daughters with my excessive stuff and trying to downsize. A very worthy goal. But also realize when you are unburdening, you're unburdening yourself. You're making it better for yourself and your daughters. Sometimes some of us are wired that we work better with external obligation versus internal obligation. Use the tool that works for you, that encourages you to take the action and do the thing. I don't judge. If it's helping you to show up to do the thing, if you're thinking of somebody else, do it. But also know that you will also benefit from it because you will feel better. You will feel better knowing you're not leaving all this crap to your daughters. Okay? There was something, release the obligation. Catherine's saying, say it, release the obligation. Yes, an obligation is like a guilt trip. Don't go on that guilt trip. Say, no, thank you. Thank you, but no. I'm going to do something different here. Okay? Yeah, you know what? Being sad to go through things. That's one of the reasons some of us don't start with the decluttering is because some of our stuff, not all of it, some of our stuff makes us feel feelings. It makes us feel, what is it, big feelings? I'm learning this from a TikTok I saw about people talking to kids about big feelings. Some of our stuff makes us a thing. You don't think looking at a coffee mug is going to make you cry or laugh. It's just a coffee mug. It came off a conveyor belt somewhere in China. China from China, Waka Waka. But we are humans. We take that coffee mug and we embed a story into it. So no longer is that just a coffee mug, but that's the coffee mug that my dad used to drink out of every morning, and it's got a little chip, and then he filed it down, and then it said this, and now it's kind of faded. But boy, is there a story associated with that thing, and now my dad's no longer here, so me seeing that stuff reminds me of him, makes me feel a feeling, and I don't want to cry, so I don't touch the stuff. But in the meantime, the stuff is weighing me down, and every time I see that box, I'm like, oh my God, I really got to go through that, and it weighs you down again. Let me help you with this. We are not machines. I am not a robot. Danger, Will Robinson. You're not a robot. You're a human being, and part of the human experience is to feel feelings, a wide range of emotions. I say the wide range of emotions because it's not going to make you feel bad all the time. When you declutter, you're going to find things that are going to make you laugh, that are going to remind you of the good times, that are going to make you want to share this with somebody. I go through my photos and I take a picture with my phone, because we're in the Jetson era here, of pictures of my friends from high school, or old-timey photos I found of the family. Or do you remember when we all bought these, whatevers? So allow yourself to feel the feelings. And decluttering is a safe way for you to learn how to, it's kind of like a rainstorm ahead. Oh, I feel it. I'm going to feel a feeling. All right. I'm living through it. Okay. I'm coming back down. Sorry, I got distracted. Apologies. We've got somebody coming to do something on the house. I don't know if they showed up early, and I don't know, my husband's awake. So I'm like, It's okay to feel sad. You won't feel sad all the time. Getting more comfortable with being uncomfortable. I don't know, that sounds kind of too pat. It's okay to feel your feelings. You're a human. We all feel these things. And that makes sure that you're still a human and you haven't turned into a robot. Okay? Ponytail Girl Vintage is a millennial and decorating in 70s green, orange, and yellow. Interesting thing is I decorate, and you've probably seen it around my house, with green, orange, yellow. Mine are a little bit more pop. Not so earth tone to limit type thing. But yeah, we all have the things that we like and the things we don't like. All right. Yeah, feeling guilty, feeling a feeling and feeling guilty. You have a choice of how you feel. Sometimes you don't. Something, you've seen it probably on some of my TikToks. I will talk about something and all of a sudden I can feel a wave of emotion. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting choked up about talking about something. But then I breathe through it, I let it happen, and I let it pass. I have heard that when you feel a feeling, no matter what it is, the most intensity of it barely lasts, doesn't even last 2 minutes. So hang on to your ego. Hang on to that. Get yourself through it and say, whoa, okay, I made it through that. Now what can I do about it? Yeah, Dawn, you're emotionally attached to your things with big feelings because you're a human being, and this is what we are wired to do. We tell stories, we feel connection. This is just how we're taught to think about things too. I will say this, maybe you were taught about it. I come from a family that is sentimental and saves things because of the stories in them. I've heard of other people that don't do that and they're more easily able to remove things or live on the surface. It all depends on how you're wired, and some of it's nature and some of it's nurture. And all of it is okay. All of it is okay. All right? And what else do we have? Yeah, emotional attachments are okay. And here, emotional attachments are right here. Notice where my hand is. If you're not watching, my hand is on my heart, because this, to me, this whole area of my body is where I tend to feel emotions, here and in my gut, if somebody's punching me in the gut. But around here in my torso, mostly torso. Anyhow, here is where I tend to feel the feelings. And so therefore, this is where I say the sentimental stuff is. But there are 2 other layers of clutter that you can work on and build your decluttering muscle, like Rosie the Riveter. And that's your surface clutter and your stored clutter. The stuff that does not impact, that does not give you such an emotional wallop. It's a bunch of pants. It's some plates. It's a bunch of stuff in a junk drawer. That is also clutter. When you work on that stuff, when you go top down, when you go shallow to deep, what you're doing is you're learning how to declutter on the stuff that does not activate your nervous system. So that when you go to activate and you go to the stuff that makes you feel a feeling, you are better prepared because you've learned and you've practiced a decluttering process and system and muscle, and you've also seen and felt the difference of having less clutter around. So here's a funny thing. This is an interesting thing because user 5379 says, what to do with unwanted gifts, note that you don't want them, given by friends, I'm using little air quotes here, who look to see if you're using that present. Ever heard of the phrase, like, there's strings attached? Yeah, your friend is attaching a string to that present. They want to make sure you're using it. They're judging you if you don't use it. Notice that dynamic and get comfortable with the discomfort of saying, yeah, you know what? I tried it. It didn't work out. Thank you for thinking of me. Here are a few phrases from my phrase book, my lexicon, that will help you. Oh, thank you so much for thinking of me. I'll see if this works out, but I really appreciate you thinking of me. Appreciate the thought and the feeling. Minimize the gift. Then be confident enough with yourself that you're not surrounding your house with stuff. I mean, I've done this before, trust me. That you're not having stuff in your house that's only there in case somebody comes over, in case they see you're using it, in case you don't want to get in trouble with your friend. You don't want to make your friend feel bad. But in the meantime, you've got something that you're like, I don't want this. Get comfortable with rehoming things. And if somebody asks you, you learn to say, oh, thank you for thinking of me. Yeah, I tried it. It didn't work out. Or I really appreciate the thought. Or thank you, but no. Thank you, but no. Oh, I appreciate, you know what? No, thank you. You know what? I have enough of those, but that's so nice of you thinking of me. Recognize the intent. Don't make somebody feel bad, but you can also resist the thing. And if you have friends that are going to be crabby and judgy and bitchy about you, if you're not using whatever it was, is that the kind of friend you want? Maybe you declutter the people you don't want in your life by saying, I don't want to hang out with people who are going to judge me and make me feel bad, try to make me feel bad. It's my choice if I feel bad or not, but have got that. Now, I know it's different with family, and I know there are different layers of that, but there are ways you can practice some of these things. And to make sure that if you have some of those obligation type things, that maybe it's only 5%, 2%, 1% of the stuff in your house. Okay? So there we go. I went from a 4-bedroom house to a single house. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Oops. There's all sorts of ways you can do about this. Yeah, it's heartbreaking when tragedy. I don't want to minimize tragedy by incurring the Bee Gees, but what I want to say is there are situations in our lives that can impact the size of the space we're living and the quantity of items we have. You can have something happens that you go from 4 rooms to 2. So the stuff that fit in the 4 rooms to 1 room doesn't fit. You can also have it where somebody has passed and they didn't deal with their stuff, and so now it's up to you. You've been left with the burden of having to deal with their stuff. Life is going to happen. What are you going to do about it? What do you want for your life? How much stuff do you want? What do you want your 1 room to look and feel like? Here's another thing too, since we've kind of gotten into this kind of the deeper end of the pool, the little deeper end, is to say, just because you loved a person or love a person, a friend, doesn't mean you have to love their stuff. Also, if you don't love somebody's stuff, it doesn't mean you don't love them. It's just stuff. Okay? So I say this as a person who has experienced loss and has sentimental items. My dad passed away. I have friends who have passed away, acquaintances, all that. I know that my love for my dad, my love is in here. My love is not in the things. My love will always be in here. I will always feel the love. Sometimes when I see an item, it reminds me of my dad, but it doesn't even have to be an item in my house. I hear a song, I smell a smell, I taste a taste, I see a thing that reminds me of that person. It doesn't have to be memories. These things are going to happen out in the real world. It doesn't mean you didn't love your parents or your boyfriend or your husband or wife. If you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to reduce the amount of stuff that used to be yours so I have room for my life. Okay? Now, this is the deep stuff, decluttering wise. Okay, we're in the deep end of the pool. We're in sentimental. But I just want to remind you that you can paddle on over to the more shallow end, the kiddie end of the pool, to learn how to declutter. And when you learn to declutter, what I want you to think of is, what's in it for me? What do I, not me, but you, third person, all that. Second person. What do you want your home to look like? Listen, write it down. What do you want to feel like in your home that you're maybe not currently feeling now? Maybe you are. You want to feel more of it, more of the good, less of the bad. What's the bad stuff? How are you not feeling right now? You're not feeling so good? You feel overwhelmed, heavy, stuck, suffocated, depressed, discouraged. Write those things down and then put a line down the middle of the road and think, what's the other side of that? What's the opposite word? What's the opposite word to how you're feeling? Remind yourself why you're doing this. You have a reason why you have hung on to. Notice the past tense. You have a reason that you have hung on to the items you currently have in your life. Is that reason getting you the result you want, the life you want? Is it making it easier and more delightful to live your life? Or is that weighing you down? Even by asking that question, you're getting some distance. You can get some perspective. And as soon as you do that, when you stop and question, that immediately puts a fork in the road. You have an option. Now it's a choice. You can choose to hang on to the stuff, no judgment. Or you can choose to let go of the stuff, no judgment. And it's not an all or nothing. It's going to be piece by piece. But reminding yourself of why you're doing it is the reason why you're going to do it. And I want you to do it for reasons that feel good to you. Because I want a life that looks like this. I want a home that feels like this. I want it to take less time for me to do the things I want to do and have to do in my home. And I want to get out of my home and I just want to go out and live. I don't want to be, I teach you the skills of decluttering so you don't spend the rest of your life doing the major declutters. You get the good habits so you don't have to do the major declutters anymore. But we knock down the big pile of stuff that's accumulated over decades while changing your habits. And then as you have practice and support and encouragement through coaching to learn those new habits, then it's like learning how to drive. You practice these habits, the next thing you know, it's just how you do things, and your life has changed and in a way that you feel more light and delight. Groove is in the heart, people. Groove is in the heart. Okay? Yeah. Oh, Christina Glendale, nice to see you. I hope things are going well. And Christina is saying, thank you for teaching me to trust my natural pull. Yeah, notice a push. Nope, don't want it. And a pull. Ooh, you know what I want? Like literally, you see those cartoons where like the heart goes out like this? My heart wasn't in it. Like, oh my God, I'm being drawn like a magnet. I don't know what it is, but it smells good. My husband and I talk about this. Like we both love garlic. And it's like your nose being like, oh my goodness, I'm floating along on that smells so good. Pay attention to how you physically and emotionally respond to things and act accordingly. If you don't want that thing, don't have it in your life. If you do want it, have it and get delight every time you look at it. So what else can we have here? Okay, moi is saying, good morning. Good morning. I'm going to declutter this weekend. Awesome. I'm going to do some cleaning. So, okay, we can talk about dust. Okay, a room is extremely dusty. Recommendations. The thought of dust grosses me out, and then I'll track the dust all around the house. Okay, couple of things, totally practical. And thank you for the reminder, because I have something that I've been avoiding dusting, that I will do a TikTok. See, this is what I'm doing. Notice what I'm doing. I have an idea of something that I'm like, I should do it. I don't really want to. How can I make myself do the thing that I know I'll feel better after I'm doing it? External accountability. Share what you're going to do. You just did it. I'm going to declutter this weekend. I'm sharing with you. All right, you guys, I'm going to say it. I am going to dust my snow dome collection. Oh my gosh, I haven't done it in years. We have friends that are going to be visiting. They've never been to our house before. Another external accountability. And they love us enough. They don't care if there's dust on my snow domes, but I would like to use that as an excuse, as a reason, as a destination, as a a milestone, a goal to get those done beforehand. And another way I'll do this, as I will accountable, I will do a video of me doing it. So the things I would say the following. If the thought of dust grosses you out, yeah, cleaning sometimes grosses me out too, certain things. Prepare yourself, get a mask, put on some rubber gloves. Use the vacuum. The vacuum can suck up the dust that might be just floating around, but then also use a dust cloth and get the dust off and do the dusting, and then let the dust settle, and then go back in and do it again. A little bit at a time is going to help. You may be surprised about that, but get yourself prepared for the job. You wouldn't show up on a road trip without gas in your tank or certain things. So get yourself prepared to make it easier for you to do the dusting. Okay, and also know you're not alone, because now today's already Thursday, Friday, so within the next 48 to 72 hours, did I do the math right? Maybe not. Regardless, before Saturday afternoon, you will see a TikTok video from me, real time, half time, whatever, doing the thing that I haven't wanted to do, which is to dust my snow dome collection. But external commitments will get me to do the thing that I know I'm going to feel better doing. That's a tool in your toolkit. Okay? Making things easier. Okay? Hope that helps. Mary, I just realized I've got 6 minutes left. I got to pay attention. What can I do with the feeling that I pay for this stuff because I don't want to give it away? Okay. So, there we go. Christina says a HEPA filter that really cuts down on the dust. Love it. Yeah, and I have to buy it again. So ask yourself, here's the wonderful thing. You have control over what stays and what goes. If you think you might use it in the future and you're being honest with yourself, then keep it. But then make a promise to yourself to actually use the thing. But if you look at it and you're like, oh man, but you have the fear. Fear keeps you stuck and hanging on to stuff. Love helps you to get curious and release things. If you're afraid that I might need it someday, ask yourself when the last time you used it was. All of these questions are going to be slightly different depending upon what the thing is. And if I did give this away and then I did need it, could I use something else to achieve that same effect? Could I borrow whatever it is from somebody? A crock pot, a coffee table. I don't know, coffee table. No, like a banquet table. Could I borrow it? Believe you can borrow. Believe there's somebody out there who's also hanging on to this stuff saying I might need it someday. And you can get the word out locally. Hey, does anybody have a picnic table I can borrow? We're having a graduation party. Oh my gosh, we got 2 here. I can help you with that. Okay? But also, if you do end up needing to buy it again, if it's something that's not that expensive, maybe you just say, hey, you know what? My peace of mind not having it is worth that on the off chance in the future I may need to spend $20. But notice, this is a thought that makes you feel a feeling. And when you feel a feeling, you either do a thing, which is hanging on, or you do a thing, which is releasing. It can be. It is that simple. I don't like to overcomplicate things. I coach simply because I don't want to clutter up your brain with too many things. There are simple things that you do over and over again when you're decluttering. Yep. What to do with gifts that people gave me? Love them. Appreciate the people. Yep. I mentioned it up thread. Maybe, Terry, you weren't on, but I'll happy to repeat myself. And also you can listen to the TikTok recording when this is up on Destination Decluttered on YouTube. Is appreciate the sentiment, the feeling behind it, but remove the thing. Thank them. Even thank the gift. Thank you, gift, for being a memory of somebody giving me this, but you're not bringing me joy. I'm going to rehome you, and somebody else will be more delighted with this than me. Okay? I'm making new habits. Awesome. Nurse Anita says, talk about coffee cups. Okay, I'll talk about coffee cups. Talk about pop music. How many coffee cups do you really need? Which are the ones you use all the time, and which are the ones that stay in the back of the cupboard? Which are your favorites? Which are the ones that just you are organically, if you had your choice, which you do, which are the ones that you love to pull out, and which are the ones that kind of stay in the back? That you've already made a decision. You have taken a category of items in your home, and you have created a subcategory. These are my favorites. These are the ones I don't like so much. Notice the ones you like and get curious about why you like them and enjoy them. The ones that you don't like, maybe that's when you put them in a box, put them in a bag, and you donate them somewhere else. Notice how you can get in the habit of saying, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy a mug every time we go someplace. Oh my gosh, and then you got to watch it because you go a lot of places, you get a wicked lot of mugs. And then you run out of space. But you probably only use, kind of like clothing. There's a lot of these things where you tend to use 20% of your stuff 80% of the time. That's math, but it's also true. You probably wear the same clothes. That's why they're in the laundry. The clothing you don't wear is the stuff that hangs in your closet and you don't wear it. Get curious without judgment about the stuff you're not using and ask yourself why you're not using it or why it still is in your home. Okay? All right, now Elena is saying, I'm stuck with things, what to do with photo albums. Notice where you're going. Maybe you're good with your surface clutter and your stored clutter, and photo albums, this again is a sentimental item. Sentimental stuff is going to be the last stuff that I suggest you deal with because I want you to get comfortable with dealing with things of a not so triggering, and I just mean activating, feeling way. But photo albums can be difficult. Notice how we have gone from a paper-based society to a digital society, and now we kind of have the both. What I want to offer to you is, I personally am a sentimental person, and I like photographs of family. Photographs of family are things that other generations may want to see. Wow, I have the same profile as that person. Wow, this is somebody I'm connected to in the past. So family photo albums may be beneficial. Now, photo albums necessitate the fact that there's probably a lot of photos in them. Then it's a matter of, do I want to take out a few photos and put them in a box? Do I want to keep these? Have a certain amount of your family legacy, but have that stored somewhere where it says like family history, and it's somewhere where other people can access it. So if you pass away, people don't throw it away. Okay? And think about the reason we take pictures is to capture a moment for ourselves. That moment may not matter to anybody in the future, but it might matter. Photos may matter to future generations of your family. Okay? Just something to think about. Okay, Terry Erickson, your problem is clothes, cannot get rid of clothes. Notice you have a thought that makes you feel a feeling that makes you hang on to the clothes. What's that thought? What's that sound? It's a sound heard around the world, Patty Smythe. Hope you're doing well. Notice the thoughts you have about your stuff that make you feel a feeling about your stuff, and then what you do with your stuff. Unhelpful thoughts make you feel lousy, you hang on to stuff. More helpful thoughts make you feel better, and you're more easily releasing items that you don't want. Okay? Yeah, Marshall's got the magnets. I did magnets. I actually now have mine on the inside of my cupboards because I don't like how it looks cluttery. Okay. Now, it is 9:01. I've been on a TikTok live for, oh, I almost said a month, an hour here. So I'm going to sign off. Yeah. And do the thing that's going to make you feel good. Going through it and being intentional and honorable, like with the photos, and also good for you right now. Okay? I do TikTok lives. I got one today. Tomorrow I don't, probably because I'm going to be cleaning for our houses. I've got one coming up on Saturday morning, so that'll be interesting because that's going to be before our friends show up. So I am making an external connection to say that I'm going to let you know how I'm doing with my Snow Dome collection, okay? The other thing really quick, because I wasn't very heavy-handed on the marketing aspect of my thing, if you like what I'm doing, I have a mailing list. Follow my Destination Decluttered TikTok page. Get the word out. If you want me to be your one-on-one coach, get to my website, destinationdecluttered.com. Sign up for a consultation. We have a conversation. Consultation equals conversation. If it works, we work together. And yeah, you got this. And I want you to think of this. What's in it for me? Why do I want to do this? And do it for you. Don't do the decluttering for anybody else, but do it for you. Okay, nice to meet you all. See you again perhaps on TikTok on Saturday, April 13th, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm doing a TikTok live. And nice to meet you, and I hope this helps. Okay, bye. Bye, bye, bye. Why can't I ever hit that?